Good afternoon. Today we are here to present a case to you. This case is going to be between Bainbridge Borough and my client Carol Fern. My name is Heather Trahan and I'm an attorney for American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees. It is Local 10, also known as the AFS-CME. Go ahead and flip the page, flip the slide. My union is one of the nation's largest and fastest growing unions. It provides public service employee unions to more than 1.6 million people that are working and retired. We serve families to make sure they are treated equally outside of the workplace as well as in the workplace. We also make sure the community stays strong. We also advocate for the prosperity of all working Americans. We not only stand for the fairness at this bargaining table, but we also fight for the fairness within our community and in the halls of our government. Please flip to the next slide. We are here today because Carol Fern, who works for Bainbridge Borough, she's a tax clerk at the company. Her and her husband found out they could not conceive a child. Like any other parent, they still want to be a parent, so they turned to adoption. So on April 22nd, the adoption agency notified the Ferns that they had a 3-month-old baby girl to adopt. They could adopt her within the next 3 days. She feels bad because she knows between February and May, this is the most high point of her career. Obviously, it's tax season. She asked for an extension, and the adoption agency gave her an extension until May 2nd. On May 27th, she asked the company requested for 2 weeks of paid vacation from May 2nd to May 17th. That way she can go ahead and adopt her child and spend a few weeks with her. The company approved her request. The day before she was supposed to return, she asked Bainbridge Borough for a 6-month extension for unpaid maternity leave. It ended up being transferred to the council, and the council denied this. The council, however, turned around and gave her 2 90-day reasonable purpose leaves. This equals a 6-month. Go ahead and flip to the next slide. Adoption is where a parent can legally and morally be responsible for a child's safety, their health care, their education, their development of life skills, and to care for the child properly and for their everyday activities. These are the same responsibilities that any person that was able to conceive and have a child would also have to take care of in order to take care of their child. Go ahead and flip to the next slide. So on June 1st, Fern went ahead and filed a grievance. She did not understand why Bainbridge Borough had denied her request for a maternity leave. Maternity leave is either by birth or by adoption. There's 4 steps to the grievance. 1, to discuss with a supervisor. 2nd, you'll meet with a higher management official, either HR manager or department manager. The 3rd, you need to go to higher management officials. And 4th, finally, it's arbitration. Flip to the next slide. So why didn't Bainbridge Borough accept the maternity leave? We don't know. Adoption's like having a new child. Adoption is covered underneath maternity leave. So why didn't they cover it? This is why we're here today. Flip to the next slide. Bainbridge Borough does have contract provisions. Under Article X, Section 4A, it states that you can take up to 6 months of unpaid maternity leave with the company. There's 2 options. One, that Carol Fern requested, which was maternity leave. Maternity leave states under the Bainbridge contracts that it should not exceed 6 months, and it can be granted under the request of an employee. Maternity leave shall be upon the request of the employee and be extended or renewed, but not to exceed that 6-month period. However, they gave her 2 90-day reasonable purpose leaves. This is a leave of absence in a limited period without pay not to exceed those 90 days. It does have to be approved by the Borough Council, which it was. However, the maternity leave does not, as long as the employee has requested it. Please flip to the next slide. There are 2 types of maternity leave. Maternity leaves are maternity disability, which is also known as medical leave. And this is the period from when a mother has had the child and 6 months after for the recovery time. There's also the second maternity leave, which is also considered family leave. This is FMLA leave. This is after the 6-week period of recovery. Go ahead and flip to the next slide. Under the law, The FMLA, also known as Family and Medical Leave Act, requires that you have to at least provide an employee with up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave during a year to care for a new child, whether it's either by birth or by adoption. In order to qualify for this, you have to work at least a year and at least 1,250 hours. The company has to have at least 50 employees at the facility, or 50 employees within a 75-mile radius. The employer, is it covered by FMLA or no? Flip the page. Absolutely, Fern was covered. She has worked at the company for 18 years. She's covered under the contract provisions of Bainbridge Borough. She should have never went through the council. It was maternity leave, not reasonable purpose leave. Therefore, adoption is included inside maternity leave, and she should have been granted this leave. Go ahead and flip to the next slide. To sum it up, maternity leave is either called parental or family leave. This is a time when a mother or father can take off and spend time with their newly child, whether or not they are by birth or by adoption. The reasonable purpose clause that Bainbridge Borough had given her for the 290 days leave extensions is used usually for instances of sick, death in the family, or some other reasonable clause. In this case, she should have been accepted her maternity leave by all evidence that has been obtained. Carol Fern should have gotten her 6 months of maternity leave. Thank you very much.